Are you ready for this?
Yeah, I'm cool.
All right, so let's welcome Molly May to our first ever 10 in 20 podcast.
Woohoo.
So I'm going to throw to you straight away. I want you to introduce yourself, tell us how you know youth services, how old are you, like what have you been involved in, and just all that kind of stuff.
All right. I'm Molly May. I am 21 years old recently. I know youth services because I, in 2022, was a part of YELT, the Youth Events and Leadership Team.
How did you hear about that? Where did you first find out about the Youth Events and Leadership Team?
I found that, I'm pretty sure I was just Googling things, like maybe, I feel like my mum suggested something about the council. She was like, look at what the council does. And I was like, okay.
Cool.
Yeah. And then I found it.
That's the only thing you've been involved in with youth services, is the Youth Events and Leadership Team?
Yeah.
I think so.
I think so, yeah. That's the only thing I've done with the council.
Cool. All right, you ready to get into business?
Yeah.
10 questions.
Yeah.
We've got 20 minutes.
Okay.
I know you like to ramble,
I can make it happen.
but if it happens, it happens. All right,
We can cut it.
yeah, we can cut it.
Nobody has to know.
Question one, to you, what is a youth leader in the community?
The youth leader in the community, I would say, is someone who they don't have to be making, like I feel like every individual could have impact, like the potential to have impact on the community, but someone who wants to have impact, like has the drive or willingness to have impact. It's something that they aspire to have. Mainly positive impact. A leader would have positive impact. I wouldn't. Leaders can have negative impact, but I would say,
More positive impact.
yeah, someone who wants to have positive impact. Yeah.
All right, question two. What's your experience in being a youth leader?
Look, so I would like to find that as, yeah, as I said before, someone who wants to have impact, and I've always been an individual who's, that's a very like leadership word, like impact and, you know, change and wanting to like have a difference in spaces. Like I think it's always been like applying for leadership roles, and you know, if not getting them, like trying to better the environment that I'm a part of. So I'd say like my experience has started quite like young, and it kind of grows, and you get better recognition like within the spaces. So like with youth services, like you start as just a volunteer, and then you get asked to do podcasts, and you know, you get asked to walk around the library with Nick Stakos and all these random opportunities, and it is just about like the first step is always like the hardest, because it's like where it requires the most courage is just like to enter the first space.
Absolutely. So just taking that first step is the most important, really.
Yeah. And
Cool.
so yeah, once you like do it a couple times, it becomes quite natural, I guess.
Nice. Question three.
Yes.
So what are some of the different ways of being a youth leader?
A youth leader.
So I can give you a couple of examples. So it could be like volunteering, it could be mentoring, could be a leadership role.
Different ways I volunteer, like
Yeah, I mean, let's go with you. Like, what are some? This podcast is all about you. So what are some of the different ways you've been a youth leader in the community?
So I would firstly say like within my school community is probably one. Like applying for leadership roles. In primary school, I made like a new carnival, or like I added to like our sports carnival or something like that. Those are probably like the initial stages, and then, you know, getting a bit older, you can apply for different programs. So I've been a part of YELT, like a part of the council's programs, and I was a youth representative for a program by Big Brothers Big Sisters called Youth Are Not Alone. So I was a part of that. I volunteer with an organisation called YLEAD, so they're a youth leadership thing, so all based around leadership there. And so so volunteering, and then, you know, with YLEAD I've been like granted the opportunity to be a contractor for them, so that's pretty exciting. So it's a different way of doing leadership as well. Mentoring with the YELT team, I was asked to come back and mentor. So yeah, ticking all those boxes. Different ways. So I guess like the initial stage is volunteering, or just like applying, the the application process, and then, you know, you go up with the ranks a bit.
So, like, do you reckon leadership's first? You couldn't mentor, you couldn't jump into a mentor position
No,
first?
100% you can. Like, I just think to mentor, you obviously have to have experience or some knowledge to bestow upon.
That's generally what they ask for.
Yeah, someone
Yeah, cool.
else. So, you know, you've got to be bringing something to the role. So if you don't have any prior experience, it is a bit difficult to go straight to that role. But I'm not saying.
Yeah, so
like-
being involved in a community-based program
Yeah.
or something like that's probably the first,
Yeah, definitely.
the easy step and the easy transition into
Yeah, probably.
something further.
Step number 1.
Cool, according to you.
According to me, because I am gospel.
Question 4. What motivates you to take on an active role in being a youth leader?
Motivations. I would say, so there's all the classics of like wanting to have impact and change, and I think what motivations are like driven by passion. So, you know, if you're really good at sports, there's wanting to make a change in that area. But for me in particular, I'm like a very good participator. Like I always like to call myself number 1 participator. Like I've never been like amazing at sports, but I've always been a part of the team kind of thing.
Yeah.
So motivate, like I've always been a part of things because I very much have a passion for people. Even if it's for selfish reasons, like just getting to chat to someone or like, you know, creating like a wider network, not in like a way of like me like getting a better job or anything, but like just like I'm genuinely interested about individuals. So that's probably my motivator is people and getting to meet new individuals.
New people, help people, and just be involved,
Yeah, 100%.
which helps develop you as an individual as well.
Yes,
Cool.
summed it up better.
We're flying through that. I did not sum it up better than you, but that's cool. Question 5. What advice would you give to someone who's considering becoming a youth leader in their community?
Advice.
Which I feel like we've somewhat touched on about like just jump in, but like
Yeah, no, definitely. I would, take it back to that and say, look, like I think it's the starting point is always the most difficult because you never know where to go, and you don't always like understand. Like when you're first like reaching out to different things and applying for different things, it's like getting your job when you're 15, right? Like you've got a resume that says you play piano and
there's nothing there.
Yeah, right. So you don't really know what to go off. And the application process for volunteering can always be a bit strange. If we're going leader in community, I would say volunteering would be your first step. But yeah, just researching like your passions. So if it's sport, as I said earlier, it's like local netball clubs that I can train, or, you know, if it is community-based work, like check out what the council's doing and what programs like are suited for your age. And so the advice would just be to take the first step, A, research, and then B, just apply. Just apply for whatever. And, you know, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
And I feel like you can always come down to youth services and we can help you
Yeah.
discover that or like link you in with
Yeah, definitely.
certain passion projects.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Cool. Question 6.
Yes.
So youth leaders often wear many hats.
Yes.
Yeah. Not
Yeah.
like could be a baseball cap, could be a cowboy hat,
Could be backwards cap.
any kind of hat. Whether that's being a student, an employee, friend, family member. So how do you balance all of these different roles and still make time for yourself?
Look, it can be difficult.
It's a deep question. It's a bit of a self-care question too.
Yeah.
Because looking after yourself is so important.
100%. I think, I've definitely been victim of someone who gives their all to like everything around them and then kind of sacrifices that self-care part, and then you experience a major
burnout a little bit. Yeah.
100%. No, burnout. Like you do become a victim of the burnout, and then you can no longer give yourself to those places around you. So I think it is being very aware of your own limits. It's very much like a conversation you have with yourself. Like nobody can tell you what your limits are.
What did you put in place when that was happening? You said you had that conversation with yourself. You don't need to deep dive into it
No,
too much, but like what are some of the strategies that you put in place to help yourself?
I think like volunteering attracts like a certain type of person who genuinely loves to say yes. And so it is like developing that skill of being able to say no and recognizing like enough's enough. Like, you know, if you're trying to get from places and you're saying like, I'm going to be 30 minutes late, but I can get there, like depending on traffic, you know, and it just might not be working.
And you're probably doing a little bit too much.
Yeah, it's probably
Yeah.
time to like step back and, you know, just take a moment to breathe. I think there is, like, we're in such a culture where if you're not busy, like, it's like seen as negative. And I think, yeah, like leadership and volunteering and can attract those type of people who do love to do lots of things. And so it is acknowledging that, you know, like being like consciously creating like time where you're not doing anything. Like you don't have to be doing something all the time. And I think it's allowing yourself to like actually believe that it's okay. It's one thing to say like, this is okay, this is okay.
It's one thing to preach, but like actually practicing is very different.
And I think, you'll definitely see a transformation, like what you can bring to the table and the impact you can have. And so it's actually beneficial in the long run and acknowledging the benefit it can have on what you're doing.
So what do you do for your self-care? You kind of like touched on it, but not really touched on it.
Yeah, I think it's definitely something I still struggle with. I'd say, I've said no to a couple things just because like it's not going to work time-wise, and you know, like I was changing work days so I could get to volunteering things, and you know, like it's just like being strict on like, nope, these are the days I work, so I no longer give those days up anymore. Or like if I'm tired or not feeling it anymore, it's definitely saying no. So I started saying no is my thing.
Yeah.
And being honest with people. So not trying to like, oh, could we move it to this day or something? It's just like, look, it's just not going to work. Like I can't get there, or
it's not happening right now.
Yeah.
We'll make a time if we want to make it happen.
Yeah,
it'll happen.
Like
but
my plate's
like,
full, you know, I can't fit any more on it.
No, that's cool. Let's do the next question then. Question 7. We're actually flying through these questions, which is great. So there is going to be a little bit of ramble time at the end.
Yes, perfect.
What advice would you give to your younger self? I feel like this is a question you can definitely like go on with.
Advice to my younger self.
It could be real. It could be like 10 years ago. It could be 2 years ago. It could be whenever. Like, but what advice would you give yourself?
Yeah.
If you could go back in time a little bit.
I think younger Mole, little Molly. Look, I think when you're putting yourself out there for these kind of like for leadership and volunteering and stuff, you can face like a lot of people like not believing in like what you're passionate about, which is really hard to sit there and be like, I think we should do this, team. Like this is like all in, you've got the vision in your head and people aren't just like picking up what you're putting down, you know, and that can be really disheartening. So sometimes you can lose a bit of that like flame, like, you know, it can die a little bit, and that's really hard to hear from other people. And especially, you know, like there was times where I would go for like a leadership position and I'd go, like in my head I'm going, I'm the best candidate, like 100%, like this is me, like you've got me on paper, this is the description,
I fit every box, I'm ticking everything.
And I'm going, I like these people got nothing on me. I'm not saying that, but
that's what you're thinking.
I'm going like, I bring so much to the table, how could you not see that? And then it's not that the other people didn't bring anything, they obviously got the role, but you know, when people are saying no, it's really hard to like get back up and then like cheer on someone else because, you know, they're getting a role that you thought you deserved as well. Not that they're like not deserving of it, but that's really hard to sit there and watch someone else get that recognition that you think you deserve, and then the next one would be apply again, like to keep going back. So yeah, there was a time where like I applied for like a mentor role and I didn't get it, but like one of my best mates did, and I was like, what the hell? Like, you know, I was like set up to believe like this is my thing, and then, you know, it was very much like, all right, well, you'll see me at applications next year. Like I'm
coming back. This isn't the end of Molly.
100%.
Like I'm coming back.
Yeah, and so it's just like I would love to have learnt that earlier, like that drive to. It's like if they're not agreeing with you, then prove them wrong, or like make them say no, kind of thing. Like make them say no to you. Don't just like, it's not like some subtle behind closed doors like they never get back to you. It's like, no, if you're going to say no, say it to me, and I want you to list everything because I'll prove you wrong on all these things.
Exactly. I'll come back and I'll come back better and bigger.
100%. And it's taking on, it's also like not being afraid of the criticism. So they're going, look, like, I don't know, an example, not my, like, you know, they might turn around and go, look, your grades aren't high enough. And it's like, all right, well, I'll make my grades high enough. Like, you'll see me next year kind of thing.
Yep.
So it's like taking on the criticism, but like using it as an opportunity to grow. I think for so long when people, like it's not Wiley, like the leadership organisation, don't say feedback, they say feed forward, because you're only moving forward with the feedback.
I like that.
You
I
know?
like
So,
that. That's cool.
yeah, so it's pretty cool. Like so it's not my phrase, it's their phrase. But it's a good way of looking at it because, yeah, any critiques or anything you receive like that should only be pushing you forward. It shouldn't be taking you back.
Yeah, they're not meant in a bad way.
Yeah, no, it shouldn't be something you're scared of. And, you know, you're not bad at it. You just haven't learned it yet.
Yeah.
Kind of.
And I mean, look at the recognition you're getting now. Let's face this. You're the first one on it. You're the first one on this podcast. Exactly.
Best.
All right, question 8. What is a valuable skill you've learnt from somebody else?
A valuable skill I've learned from someone else.
Surely there's been somebody in your life that's taught you something that's like stuck with you.
Yeah, 100%. No, it's just like a particular person.
You don't have to name said person if you don't want to.
No, I can name said person. This is, probably pretty cheesy, but my dad.
Yeah, no, do it. I love it. Go.
My dad. No, both my parents are amazing individuals, but I'll focus on my dad because he came from quite a small town where, like, you know, your biggest ambition was to be like the mechanic at the local like Holden dealership.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was only, I'm not sure how many people were in the town, but it's a pretty small
country town.
Yeah, in WA, so like rural.
Yeah.
And then he ended up going to the army at 15, so he dropped out of school, like never finished. Went to the army for 8 years, and then left the army, and he ended up, you know, going to uni. And he originally didn't get let into uni because his English wasn't exam wasn't good enough. So we somehow found a loophole to do the international exam.
I love that.
With all these international students who their first language isn't English, and that's how he got into uni. And then now he's the CFO of a global, share group.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's insane. And I think it's just, and then I think there was a period in his time where he had this job that he just didn't love. And he's working with people he just didn't like, but it was just he wasn't getting the respect he deserved, I guess. And I think there was just the mentality of work hard all the time. It doesn't matter if you're getting that recognition or not, because someone will pay you for it in the end, you know,
someone will recognize it at some point.
Yeah, 100%. So it's working hard no matter if someone is giving you that recognition. I think it's difficult, especially as, getting rewarded for what you believe is right. He was getting up at 5 or 6 in the morning to get there before everyone else, and he was leaving after everyone else. And, people are getting promotions and he's not. Mm-hmm. But then, you get a job offer and someone recognizes you, but that might not happen for a couple of years. And so it is really hard to sit there and go, hey, it's my turn, it's my turn, and nobody believes you. And so that was, he's a person who never looks back. He's always
looking forward.
Yeah. And which is really, it's one thing to say it, don't reflect on those things. But he's just, a proper example of someone who only moves forward, and the benefits of that, that come with it. So
hard work and look forward.
Yeah. That would be,
to summarize Dad's short words.
My dad, Rowdy May.
I love that. Question 9.
Yes.
What's your next big project? Or do you have any future goals? What are you looking forward to?
So projects have been put on hold, I guess, because I am off on exchange in, I think, less than 8 weeks now, which is crazy.
That's crazy. Where are we going? Come on.
Germany. We're going to Germany for 6 months.
What's the exchange program like? Give us a little bit about it.
It's for uni. So I'm just going to study over in Germany. So personal goal would be to learn German before I get there.
You want to share any German words? How's it going? No? We're not there?
I actually have forgotten all my Duolingo now that you've asked it from me.
Cool.
I only got through halfway of level 1 so far. So
but this isn't the first time you've had to do school overseas either, correct?
Yes, this is correct. No, I did in year 10, I did do a year exchange in Spain, and I made the mistake of believing I was going to end up at an international school where they would speak English, but I rocked up and I was in a Spanish school. And it's easy to say chuck on, Google Translate or, but they actually took all devices off me, Wi-Fi from 8 a.m. in the morning till 6:30 at night sometimes.
So surely there's some learnings you can take from that experience in year 10.
Yeah,
to
definitely.
this trip in Germany. So the German school is not going to be international. It's going to be...
It is a German university, but I think the German level of English is a bit higher. So I think I'm in a safe zone here. I'm in a safe zone. They do 50% of the classes in English. So we should
All right, cool.
chill.
That's it. Is there anything else you got coming up?
On Sunday, so it's Friday now. On Sunday, I'm shaving my head for World's Greatest Shave. So that's my little goal at the moment. Yeah.
Who are you, like? What are you doing it for? Is there any? Is like, what's the reason? Are you raising money for anything?
Well, the money goes to the Leukemia Foundation, and it was one of those things. Like I think to get,
No, it's cool. Keep going.
I think to get like real like deep about it, it is, it's all good to be like, yeah, like once in a lifetime thing. Like you can shave your head whenever you want, so it's not necessarily once in a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there is such an important aspect of doing things you're afraid of, and I think shaving my head is something like. Back in Spain, I was like ready to do it. Like in my head, I was like, this is my birthday present to myself. I'm going to shave it. And then I backed out and I was like, you know, it's easy to, like I went skydiving earlier this year and like I'm afraid of heights, but like it's easy to do things. I don't know, like doing something you're afraid of, I think is really important. And
it's putting yourself in those like uncomfortable situations.
Yeah. And I think shaving my head is actually something like the first time I've felt like proper nervous, if that makes sense, where I'm like, oh, I could back out of this. Like, exchange. I was like, look, no, I'm in for the whole ride. Like, put me in for the year. I'm not doing 6 months. I'm not doing 3 weeks. Like, put me in for the whole year. Like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right?
Yeah.
And then, you know, I did the Great Vic bike ride and I did it with my mum. And so, you know, that's a 9-day bike ride, but you can do a 3-day stint. You can do a 6-day stint. And I was like, no, we're doing 9 days. And
we're doing the whole thing.
I was 11, right? So I'm going like, no, we're doing the whole thing. And so with like shaving my head, I don't know what it is. I think maybe because like you can't turn around once you do it but like I think there's so much that comes into it, right? Like
it'll grow back. It's okay.
No, I know, but like I know that aspect, but it's just like so permanent for such a long amount of time. And it's like so much like visual like representation of yourself. And because I've never been in a situation where I haven't like had my hair and it feels so like materialistic to be like, it's like I'm comfortable with this, if that makes sense. So I can walk into a room and I know exactly what I look like, and you know, if I can always like fall back on this, where it's like this time it's I'm going to be uncomfortable. Nobody else is going to care, right? Like everyone's
That's true.
Like, yeah, cool. Like she's got a shaved head.
I think everybody's going to be so proud of you because it's such a cool thing to do for such a big cause.
Yeah. So it's just like I'm uncomfortable, but I think it's good. And so it'll push me to be more confident, and it relies on, you know, much more than like an external. It's more internal. So
and you're going into winter because you're going overseas soon.
Yes.
So it's going to be winter in Germany.
I'll be cold.
So if you are not loving the hair,
beanies.
Exactly.
Beanies.
There's a way to like get around it for the short term.
Look,
So I think
I will survive. And I think, it'll be a very good like personal growth kind of thing.
So proud of you for doing it.
Thanks.
All right, last question because we're just over our 20 minutes. If you had to sing karaoke,
yes,
what song would you sing? That's a big question.
Fun question. Oh my gosh.
Because like, do you pick a song where you know the singer's really good and then you could butcher it?
I
it'd
will
be terrible.
butcher it, yeah.
Or you just pick a song that's more about like the theatrics, so it kind of like takes it away from the actual singing.
Like a fun rap?
Maybe.
Yeah.
What would you choose? What would you go for?
I do a rap. I do. It's not like the most appropriate song.
That's all right. Just
Rigor Mortis by Kendrick Lamar.
cool.
Yeah, fun.
Yeah.
I can do that rap. That's really exciting.
Well, you don't have to give us any.
I wouldn't rap on this.
That's cool. Hold on to that.
Kendrick does it better than I do. But if his music's in the background, I'll give it a shot.
All right, love that. So we want to thank you for your time because it's been a pleasure having you here. It's been great having you answer all those questions about yourself. It's never easy talking about yourself sometimes.
Yes.
Are there anything you want to plug? Is there anything you've got coming up? I feel like we've kind of touched on a lot of it, but
We'll go shave.
over to you to kind of like.
Next time you'll see me, I'll be bald. So
That's true.
I'll be 10 times cooler.
All right, give it up for Molly May.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, team.